This is Eden with Global Broadcast for Kids. Join us this week as we get educated on what was made a long, long time ago, but still rocks today.
Centuries ago, like as far back as 400 AD, people were hanging around and listening to music.
And in Rome, Greece, and Spain, they played a 4-string instrument with curved sides. Sound familiar?
We're learning about the history of the guitar, and that's our story, from one kid to another. So by 1200 AD, there were 2 different types of guitars with 4 strings. The guitarra morisca, with a rounded back, wide fingerboard, and several sound holes.
And the guitarra latino, which was a little closer to the modern guitar, with 1 sound hole and a thinner neck.
Now these were all handmade guitarras, and the only way someone like you or me could actually see these guitarras was if a traveling troubadour or musician would come into your village and share their music. This was long before MTV and music videos.
And by the late 1400s, a vihula was made, and this had twice as many strings and was much bigger.
And the vihula became the choice of instruments in the Spanish and Portuguese courts. These were like little rock concerts.
But only until the 1600s. That's when the orchestral and keyboard type instruments became more popular.
Now, a 4-string instrument did exist back then, but it wasn't until the late 18th, early 19th century when 2 more strings were added. And it all started to come together with reinforced neck and ebony and rosewood for the fingerboard.
That's right, and this became the very early classical guitar.
Now, the 19th century brought back the work of guitar makers from Spain and Europe, and in their work we see the grandfathers of the classical guitar.
And with more refined work of Antonio Torres Jurado, the guitar was ready for solo performers to play on stage. And for 150 years, this basic guitar remained the same.
Now the steel string, introduced in the 1800s and made the guitar more popular in the United States. In the late 20s, the resonator, or dobro, was the first amplified type guitar. Very cool. 12-string guitar was introduced with artists like Lead Belly and later in the 60s with the Beatles and the Byrds. Now we're getting electrified. Adolf Rickenbacker invented the very first electric guitar, followed by Audiovox, Gibson, and then in the early 50s, a man named Leo Fender in California made the very first successful solid body electric, the Fender Bass. In 2007, there are many different types of electric guitars, but Gibson and Fender remain favorites, and now the Fender Electric. Well, here I am outside one of the many guitar centers across the United States, where inside you can find almost any type of guitar you're looking for. Well, there you have it. So pick up a guitar and think about how people thousands of years ago, just like us, were playing instruments.
Learn about music and play an instrument yourself. It's good for the mind and a great way to express yourself.
Yeah, rock on! This is Sean
And Eden.
with Global Broadcast for Kids.
Until next time.